Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. In this week's video, we are going to make some music with this new synth that I've got, the Melbourne Instruments Delia. I've had this for a while. I made a bank of sounds for it, so if you do purchase one, you're going to have a bank of my sounds that I made for it, which I'm pretty excited about. I also did the same for the Nina. Both kind of similar synths, but still sound pretty different. And the track that we're going to make today is going to sound like this. So let's get into it. So I'm not going to do a review. One, I made a bunch of sounds for it. Kind of feels a little bit weird if I was to do a review after they just sort of employed me to do the sounds. And also Loopop did an awesome one. Go check his out. He covers everything. And if I was to do it, it would kind of be like a poor cousin version of that. And I would rather just make some music and you can kind of hear it in context. So I've got a general idea of what I want to do today. I have some drums. If I play, pretty bog standard sort of deep house drums. And I kind of just want to make a bass, a pad, and a lead sound. And then we can kind of get a gauge for a little bit of what it can do. I'm not going to go too in depth with anything because otherwise it can kind of blow the video out. And whilst I did make a bank of sounds, 127 sounds, I'm not going to go to the presets for the sounds. I'm going to make just ones from scratch that kind of fit the song. So yeah, let's get into it. So the first thing we're going to look at is the pad. And I got the drums together and I got some basic sort of chord progressions and bass lines and stuff like that in MIDI. I just kind of got a plug-in, wrote some MIDI lines, so then I got something going. But the chords that I want to do today is just going to be a F sharp minor. It's going to be we're going to go to I think that's a D7 and then a D. And we're just going to build it from that. So we just mute these. We got, let's just mute the drums for now. Oh, not those, the drums are there. So it's not too much going on. At the moment, it's just one oscillator. We can even go to load and we load the basic preset. One thing I really like is you've got the little oscilloscope on here. You can see it in a bit as we kind of filter down. It's a good little thing when you're doing sound design, you can kind of see what's going on. But let's get into it. So let's keep the filter open for now. We just have a saw wave going, so let's get a oscillator 2. And I'm just sweeping around the shape to kind of get something that sounds nice. I think that sounds good there, and obviously we will then also put some modulation on that as well. I think we can we'll just pull the volume down a little bit, and then let's detune these two oscillators a little bit. It's a nice pad. We want it to be sort of nice and wide and everything like that. Now this is for oscillator 1 and 2. You can see here, if we go down to 3 and 4, this gives us the wavetable and the noise. And the same as the Nina, they got the XOR again. So let's go and turn oscillator 1 and 2 down. And we can go to type, there's our XOR. And you can kind of change that, the tone of that. So it's not, obviously it's a noise, it's not changing the shape, but we can change the tone. So I want it a little bit brighter, and then about there's good for volume. Turn oscillator 1 and 2 back up again. And then we can get oscillator 3. The one thing that I have noticed is the wavetable oscillator is a little bit louder, so you kind of just have to compensate that when you're just making the patches. See, if I have it at full, it just kills everything. So we'll just turn that down to like 40%. Now, again, I'm kind of going back and forth here. I'm going to turn down 1 and 2. We'll turn down 4. So we've just got the wavetable. And now we can come along, push wave. You notice you got along the bottom here, there's 2 rows. So one is for modulation, which is the bottom. And then the top one is for the actual, the thing that you want to control. So that we can go to wave. Now you can see it's brought up all these wave shapes over here, so we can come through. That might be maybe a little bit too crazy. That's pretty good. I'm looking for something a little bit more subtle. And then when we put some modulation on there, it kind of give us a nice bit of movement. So we'll go exit, get the volume up again. I think that's pretty good. So now what I'm going to do is start to shape the filter a little bit. I kind of like to hold off on the effects until the end because it gives it that nice little on top, like makes the sound really nice. And if you've kind of got something that's like 50, 60% there, and then you add the effect, you could have done a little bit better if you just shaped it a little bit more and then add the effect, and it goes from a sound that's good to a sound that's great. So let's pull that filter down, got a little bit of resonance to kind of help take out a little bit of the lows. You can see here we've got VCA, VCF, and the auxiliary for the envelope generator. So we'll go VCF, get that level in, put that attack, pull that sustain down a little bit, decay up a little bit, release up, go back to the VCA, which is effectively the volume for the synth. Just going to increase that release a little bit. Back to the VCA to shape it a bit more, maybe a little bit more of that VCA to affect the filter. Maybe a little bit more. If I go all the way, you'll hear that it'll get really bright. We want it a little bit more muted. That's pretty good there. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to add some modulation to the oscillator 2 and oscillator 3. So from here we'll just go to the mod. Now all of these, this bottom row here, so you got, these are the main ones when you're kind of the big thing. So it's got the aftertouch, velocity, the mod wheel, and the key tracking. But we want LFO1, which is already selected, and we want that to oscillator 2 shape. So we're gonna just go, we'll start with about 60 and then oscillator 3 shape as well. 65, that's good to go. Push mod again, because sometimes if you don't push mod and then you start touching a bunch of stuff, you just added modulation to a ton of things. But now we have it, LFO1 is going to oscillator 2 and 3 shape, so we can increase that level. And you can hear there if I increase that, gives that really quick, so we want to slow that down. If I just stop and open up the filter, so now you can hear we got a good amount of movement there. If I turn oscillator 4, you can hear that good movement. Turn oscillator 4 up just a little bit again, and then we'll take that the filter down again. So we got a good solid sound there. Now we can add an effect. We can just turn that up. If we come across with FX1, and it comes, the presets are loaded already with the chorus. So go to effect 2, we'll go edit, reverb. And now this is where we can come in and start to edit the reverb time, bring that down a little bit, 32. Mix, bring that down as well. But I like the shimmer. You can hear it come in just at the back there. If I increase it all the way, you can hear that sort of angelic sort of sound. Bring that down to like 45. Bring that filter down a little bit. Let's play it with some drums. Bring that VCF level down a little bit, and then just brought the attack down a little bit as well, just helping it sit in with the drums I've got going on. Maybe a little bit more on the level now I brought the attack down. Maybe a little bit of drive. When you kind of get to that detent, it's good, and then when you go over that detent, it really boosts it up. So I don't want to go too crazy on that. High pass, let's bring up the high pass a little bit, just so we can take some of the lows out. Try and do everything without too much like effects after the fact, like adding EQs and stuff like that. A little bit more of the reverb send, up to 55. Time, increase that again to 41 there. That's good there. Okay, cool. That sounds pretty good. I could be here a lot longer trying to get something that might be 5 or 10% better. But for now, it's good. Let's record it in and then we can move on to the next sound. So the next sound we're going to work on is the bass. I've already initialized the patch. So let's load. And I've already, like I said before, I've already written the bass line in, otherwise this video could be very long. And we're mainly focusing on the sound design. So what I've got at the moment, and I'll just mute out the pad and the drums, is just this. And now I want a kind of more metallic-y sound. So what I'm going to do first is, again, with these two rows, we're going to look at patch, and then that gives us the actual patch option. So unison voices, I'm going to set this all the way to the maximum 6 voice synth. So it's going to give us 6 voices of unison, but I'm not going to change the detune at all. You can hear there, it's pretty metallic-y. If I was to change that detune, you can hear it gets pretty wild pretty quickly, but we're going to keep it at 0. Poly mode, we're going to change it to mono retrigger. So first up, we obviously want to get into the right sort of territory when it comes to the tuning. So we'll go coarse, we'll get it running. There we go. And I'm just going, sweeping around the oscillator shape to kind of get something that we're after. I think that's pretty good there. So take off coarse so we don't change the tuning at all. We're going to go to filter all the way down. Go VCF again. Again, this is how we control this low pass filter frequency. So we're going to increase this all the way. Take sustain down. Go to VCA, which is the volume. Increase that release a little bit. Go back to VCF, increase that release a little bit. There we go, we got like a nice little tail on there. A little bit of drive. One thing that I found, and I couldn't really tame it too much, is if I go to coarse, bring this up to 16 feet and then put the sub on, it sounds really good, but there's no way that I know of that you can change the volume of the sub. And I think that would be really good. But let's see how that sounds with the sub and the 16 feet. Okay, let's change the amount of VCF level that we're getting. See, I find that the sub is too like overpowering. So let's put oscillator 2, we're going to put the shape down to the triangle. Go coarse, down to. And I'm just shaping it, I'm going between the amount of the VCF, so the amount of this envelope that's affecting this filter here. So if If I go all the way full, you can hear it's really bitey and I don't want that. Let's see how it is with the pad. Maybe a little bit more drive. Let's solo it out. Let's see how it is with a little bit of chorus, just a hair. I think that's pretty good there. So let's record that in and then we can move on to the lead sound. So we've got those two sounds in and so far it's sounding like this. Nice like slow swaggery sort of deep house. Now I want to do a lead and for this we're going to do, let's go load and we're going to load the initialize patch. And for this, I want to use the key tracking to affect the LFO speed, which is going to be linked to the filter. So then if we play something higher up, we're going to get a faster LFO rate as opposed to playing lower down. We're going to get a lower rate. So how do we want to do this? I think what we'll do is we'll start with the modulation and then we can work backwards and get the actual shape and everything like that. And lastly, we'll add some effects. So let's go to mod and then we'll go to LFO 1 and then we'll go filter all the way to full. And then we can go to mod and we'll go to key and then this will go to rate on the LFO 1. Now we should be set up. So if we go level all the way and then the filter down, just there we have our basic sort of effect. But I want that sound to carry over. So we're on the VCA here, which is again the volume. We want a nice release. So then when we play a lead line, we might so we got something. Let's increase that oscillator 2, detune them a little bit. And then let's go. Let's have a think. Let's get a little bit of resonance. Get a little bit of the high pass so we take out some of those lows. A little bit less resonance, a little bit of drive. And then let's get some of this filter a little bit more. Let's go up 1 octave. And then let's go to the rate. So let's just jam out, play some things, and we'll see what we come up with. Actually, let's add some effects. Got some chorus, and then add some reverb. And no pre-delay, but I do want some shimmer on there. Mix 100, let's do a little bit less on the level. Because we don't have as much level, let's increase that shimmer. And then let's just decrease this VCF amount here. And one thing I'd like to do, go to LFO, and then that gives us this LFO options over here. I want that re-trigger on. So every time I push it, it starts that LFO again. So it makes it a little bit more unified across the whole lead line that I'm going to play in. So. Now that I've got the lead line in, I'm going to shape the sound a little bit more and kind of get it to sit with everything else. Just playing around with the rate to kind of get that initial. I like the wonkiness as well. Let's maybe try with we've got 2 oscillators. So let's record that in and call it a day. So that's about it for today. We've only just scratched the surface of the Delia from Melbourne Instruments. I didn't kind of want to get too into the weeds with the morphing and all that sort of stuff. I just wanted to showcase some of the sounds that it can do within the context of a pretty basic track so you can understand what's going on, and some of the possibilities with a bit of the routing, LFOs. I'm really stoked that they added this third auxiliary envelope, which makes things a lot easier when you want to control LFO rates and stuff like that. The Nina didn't have that, and you kind of had to take one of the either VCF or VCA envelopes and use that as its own, but having the third is really good. But hopefully this has given you some idea of the basic sounds that it can do. Again, if you want to see a full review, go check out Lupub's video. He does a really good job of breaking it all down. And at the end of the day, hopefully this has inspired you to create something. And until next time, see you later.